Marie-Jolie was très beautiful. Oh, she was turning 18 years old. And her mama said, Marie, we're going to find you a husband. And Marie said, Mama, I don't want to get married. I don't want a husband. And her mama said, shut your mouth, child. Of course you want a man. Somebody to take care of you. Marie said, no, Mama, I want to go to college. I want to go to school. I want to learn. Her mama said, child, get those silly thoughts out of your head. And before you could say snap, crackle, pop, her mama had sent invitations as far away as Memphis, Tennessee. And when the night came for Marie's fête dodo, now you know what a fête dodo is, right?
No.
Oh, it's a party shack. When the night came for that party, Marie was dressed all in her shiny finery. And you know, she really was serious. She did not want to find someone to marry. But as fate would have it, when the clock struck midnight, a tall, dark, handsome man strode into the party place. And when she saw him, she was moved. She nudged her friend. She said, she went to her mama. Mama, look at him. And as fate would have it, he walked right over to her and began to talk to her. And he must have said all the right things, because it wasn't a short time later, they were what you would call hitched. They were married. And Marie sat in the wagon with all of her presents loaded in the wagon and all of her belongings as she was making way to her new life. And she waved at everybody who had come to see her off and say goodbye. Wave at her. Go ahead, wave at her. Wish her well. And her husband climbed up in the wagon next to her. He had on a big black hat, three-piece suit. And Marie was proud as anything as he sat next to her. And he said, Marie, Mama, we best be heading on our way. We got quite a journey ahead of us. And so they all said goodbye. He picked up the whip and he struck at those 6 fine black horses. Pshaw! And the horses began clop, clop, clopping down the road. As they went down the road, Marie watched the clouds, the sun shining in the sky. When all of a sudden, along the hedges against the side of the road, she saw a man dressed all in red, wearing a red hat, red three-piece suit. And he came and he stood in front of the road and stopped the wagon and said, "Hey, stop this wagon." And he called out, "Monsieur Diable, I want you to give me back my tall top hat I loaned to you." And Marie watched as her husband took off his tall hat and gave it to the man in red. And he disappeared. Now, this was strange things happening here. Her husband picked up the whip. He struck at those horses. Pshaw! The horses began clop, clop, clopping down the road again. And as those horses went down the road, Marie turned to her husband. She said, "Honey, why'd that man take your hat?" And he said, "Marie, don't worry your pretty little head about things like that. It don't concern you." They went on a little bit further. Marie saw a man dressed all in purple. And he came and he stood in front of the wagon and stopped the wagon. And she watched as her husband drew back on the reins and the horses came to a stop. He climbed down out the wagon and she could overhear the man in purple saying, "Monsieur Diable, give me back my three-piece suit I loaned to you." And she watched as her husband took off his jacket and his pants and his vest and gave it to him. Good thing he had on his long johns. Otherwise, it might have been a big problem. Well, the man took the clothes and disappeared, and right about that time, Marie could see the big black menacing clouds over her head. The big old drop hit her right on the arm. Ooh, look how dark it's getting. Her husband picked up the whip and struck at those horses. And the horses began clopping down the road again. And this time a man in black stood in the middle of the road, stopped the wagon. And Marie said, oh my Lord, what's he gonna ask for this time? His underwear? She watched as her husband talked to the man in black, and he said he wanted his 6 black horses. And Marie watched as he unhitched the horses and gave them to the man. How are they gonna get home? She didn't have long to figure out. Because the next thing you know, when he came to the wagon, he said, Marie, get yourself down out this wagon and hit yourself up. Put those reins on you and pull us home. Marie said, I can't. And she stopped mid-sentence because the look in his eyes told her that not only could she, but she would. And she went out in front of the wagon and like a zombie, put everything on her. And she put one foot forward, and she found that she had the strength unlike anything she had ever felt before. And she pulled the wagon forward. And she didn't have long to go. Her husband said, Marie, I want you to make a turn. As she moved, it seemed like she had superhuman strength, and she could not figure out where the strength was coming from. And as she moved, the wagon seemed to go faster and faster and faster, and she came to the place for her to turn, and she knew she had to turn, and he tilted the rope, and she turned. And as she turned, she saw a big, beautiful house with white pillars down the road. And when she took one step, she was halfway there. She took another step, and she was in front of the house. And he said, Marie, you see that horse trough over there? I want you to go over there and splash some water on your face and come on in this house and meet my mama. She said, oh, Lord, he got a mama. Marie splashed the water on her face to fortify herself. And she went on in the house, and the woman she met, she looked kind enough. Her hair was pulled back into a bun. And she had the kindest face you ever wanted to see. She said, come on in, child. I know you're tired. I know you're hungry. Come on in the kitchen. I got some beignets and coffee for you. Well, this warmed Marie right up. She seemed like she was getting back to her normal self. She was sitting down at the table with her new mother-in-law, and she liked her immensely. When her husband walked in and said, Marie, Mama, I'm headed to town. I'll be back tonight. And his mama said, all right, son. I'll see you later. And as soon as the door slammed, Marie turned to her mother-in-law. She said, Mama, what's wrong with my husband? Why is he acting like this? And his mama said, child, I can't tell you. She said, please tell me what's wrong with him. She said, all right, listen. You've gone and married the devil himself. Shut your mouth, old woman. Why would you say such a terrible thing? You're just trying to break up my marriage. She said, no, child. Oh, you don't know. Marie said, no what? She said, come with me. And on her side was a big ring of keys. And there was a tiny key with scrolls on it. And she said, here, take this key. She led Marie to a door underneath the staircase, tiny door. She said, put the key in there, open up and tell me what you see. Marie put the key inside the lock and she could hear the lock scolding. She pulled it open and a stench greeted her. Ugh. She poked her head in. She said, I can't see anything. Her mother-in-law said, wait just a minute. She went to the kitchen and she got 2 candles made of beeswax. She lit them and gave them to Marie. Marie brought them and looked in the door. When I count to 3, I want everybody to scream. 1, 2, 3. No. It was a blood-curdling scream, a sight she had never seen before. You ready? 1, 2, 3. You don't sound scared. I'm trying to tell you that what she saw was very frightening. We're going to try this one more time, okay? I got to feel like y'all scared or I can't go on with the story. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Marie into the kitchen. She said, child, I know you didn't know. That's all there's other wives in there. I don't want you to wind up like them. So his mama told him. So I'm going to help you. On the table was a basket of beignets. She said, look, I'm going to give you this basket of beignets. There's 6 of them in here. How many did she have in there? 6. Very important. She said, now look, your husband's going to come home before day in the morning. I want you to be very careful. Because when he comes home, he's going to climb those stairs 2 at a time. If he climbs those stairs 2 at a time, it means he's drunk. And he's going to fall in that bed, and he's going to go to sleep. And you have a chance to escape. You don't let him know you're awake, no matter what you do, and don't make a sound. But soon as you hear him snoring, ease yourself out of this bed and get that basket. Ease your way out. Now mind how you open the door. Because if that door creaks, he's going to wake. And that's going to be the end of you. She said, now, when you make your way down the stairs, I want you to remember the second step from the bottom. It creaks. If you step on that step, he's going to hear it. And if he hears it, he's going to wake up and be the end of you. Now this is the hardest part. When he gets to the door, when you get to the door, his rooster's out there. His rooster never sleeps. And if his rooster sees you and starts to crowing, he's going to hear it. And that's going to be the end of you. She said, but child, if you make it out the gate, mind you don't let that gate bang. And if you find that you pass the gate and down the road, you got 6 beignets. Those beignets will stop him. You take one at a time and throw it back there at him. And that should give you time to get away. Marie thanked her mom. Thank you. Her heart was heavy as she climbed the stairs. She climbed in bed, and that night, Marie was asleep but not asleep. Her heart was beating. She heard the grandfather clock gonging downstairs. Dong! 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 And she heard the door slam. Her husband came up the stairs 2 at a time. He pushed the door open and said, he climbed in the bed, went to sleep. Soon as she heard him snoring, Marie eased out the bed. She pulled her shoes, put them on. She slept with all her clothes on that night. She went to the door, grabbed that beignet basket, and eased the door open very slowly. She pulled the door open. She took a step out. She took another step and she made it to the stairwell. And when she got to the stairwell, Marie couldn't remember whether she meant the second step from the top or the second step from the bottom. So Marie didn't step on the step at the top and neither the one at the bottom. So when she got down to the bottom, she knew that she still had to meet that rooster. So she pulled the curtain back on the door and looked out. And there was that rooster, eyes wide open. Now, what she didn't know was he had painted the eyes open on the rooster to make it appear like he was always awake. She waited until her heart calmed down. And then she eased the door open. And she stepped out on the porch, careful not to make it creak. And as she went out the door, she made her way down the stairs and over to the gate. And when she opened up the fence, that's when she made her mistake. That fence clanged shut, woke up the rooster. Monsieur Diable, your wife is getting away! Her husband jumped up out of that bed. He looked out the window and saw Marie running down the road. She kicked off those shoes and she was running for all she was worth. Marie was loping down that road. And that old devil said he climbed out that bed, went down those stairs, and one leap out that door, patted the rooster on the head, and out the fence was behind Marie Jolie. Let me tell you, he was so close behind Marie when Marie turned around and saw him look like a big old crawfish behind her. She reached into that basket. She took out one of those beignets. When I throw it and I count to 3, I want you guys to make a big old explosion sound. Ready? 1, 2, 3! And when the dust settled, there was a fence made of steel. It was so high, you can't get over it. So low, you can't get under it. So wide, gotta go around it. Rocking my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rocking my soul. Said Marie looked up, and when she saw that fence made of steel, oh, she was so happy. She started running down that road. But you think that stopped that old devil? Shucks, no. Said that old devil went on back up them stairs 2 at a time, reached into that bed, went down to the annals of hell, they say, came back out with his mighty axe. Said he went on back down out of that gate, and when he got out to that gate, to that big gate made of steel, said he chopped right through it like he was cutting through paper. Marie turned around and saw that devil was gaining on her again. How many beignets did she have left in the basket? She reached in that basket. She took another beignet out, and when he was right up on her, she could feel the heat on her back. She took that beignet and she threw it back there. I think she was trying to throw it at him, if you ask me. Threw it, and there was a big old explosion. 1, 2, 3. Boom! This one louder than the first. Boom! Louder than the first. Boom! Oh, Lord, and when the dust settled, there was a fence, and this one they said was made of plutonium. Don't ask me what that is. It's supposed to be stronger than steel. Say that didn't stop that old devil. Say that old devil looked at that old fence. He said, you dig one ditch, you better dig 2. The trap you set just might be for you. Put it in my heart. You can't change me. So don't mind the world can't own me. I'm working, toiling, hoping, greater, toiling, working. Said that old devil took that axe, threw it at that fence, and it parted. Said he went on right through there. Said Marie looked at him. Oh, she was sweating great big old buckets now because he was gaining on her. Seemed the faster he ran, the faster she ran, the faster he ran. How many beignets she had in that basket? 4. She reached in that basket. She said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this whole basket. I'm going to throw it back there. No. She took the whole basket of poked in. She didn't even watch what she was throwing. Thing landed in front of her. 1, 2, 3. Boom! And say this time it blew a tributary straight to the Mississippi River. Said Marie saw an old crocodile sitting right there. An old alligator sitting right there on the banks. She said, Monsieur Cocodrie, please, give me a ride on your back and I'll take care of you and yours, please. Said that old alligator said, get on board, sugar, get on board. This train bound for glory. Get on board. Say she climbed on that gator's back. Now his back during that time was like glass. You could see straight through to the bottom of the water. Marie stood on his back and she felt calm and she went on across there. Now that old devil, he came straight up to where the water came and saw that old alligator out there in the middle of the water with Marie riding on his back. He said, Monsieur Cocodrie, bring yourself on back here to me. And the gator, he looked at Monsieur Diable, said that he gave him the eye, left Marie on the other side, and made his way back to that old devil. That old devil stepped on his back, and when he did, his back began to crack. Say it began to make all those little cuts and slits that you see on a gator today. And instead of clear, his back became green and tough as leather. Say that old devil stood on his back and said, take me over to the other side. Now that old gator took him to the other side. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. There's some trouble in the waters. Say that old devil was just about to reach out for Marie when that old gator decided he needed to duck down in the water. Say he dunked down in there, all right, and that old devil found himself adrift in the current. Say that old current took him all the way down to New Orleans where he's causing a heap of mess of trouble to this very day. Shucks, ain't no telling what he getting away with. But as for Marie, she became known as the spirited one. She opened up a zoo, and she began teaching children so much about life and about animals and about living. Oh, she lives a wonderful life. And whenever she's with her friends, people always ask her, they say, Marie, when you gonna get married again, Shaq? She says, shucks, after you've been married to one devil, don't make sense, get married to another. Well, I'm gonna tell you, this is a tale of a tale within a tale. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's more stories where that one come from. Hands up like this, pretend like you're cutting paper, say snip. Snap your fingers, say snap. Hold your nose, say snout. Open up your arms, get ready, clap. 1, 2, 3. This tale's been told out. Tell everybody you heard it from Angela Davis, the yarn spinners.